Hello and welcome back, or welcome to Season 2 of Hardcore Minecraft with me, Doom Mountain, and Mr. Burrito over there. I hope everyone is doing well and looking forward to jumping back in the hardcore world here and getting a bit more done over here at our Tree Nursery. Now, we finished off last episode by building up the dock here and also putting in this coursed dirt pathing to simulate the real trodden footsteps of this area, so we know where the real path is that everyone walks all the time, and then later on we'll be able to branch off from that. Now, last time I did leave off the episode. I know, Burrito, I'm about to say it now. I forgot something, and we can see it just over here. I made mention of how are we getting onto the dock, or I've had one viewer who helped me out. I can also say a wharf. So it's either the dock or the wharf. It's not a jetty or anything like that because of how it's structurally going. Anyway, our wharf or dock didn't have any access for once you were there on the boat to be able to get up here. So I have, between episodes, done a bit of a live stream working on this area to get the pathing in so that we could have a really good grounding to work off for this episode. But whilst on that live stream, I decided to toy around with the idea of how I was going to actually get off the boat into this area. Not so much toy with the idea as I randomly stumbled upon it and I really liked how it worked. So the idea is that our rails here are actually sliders. So once they're up in place, you can, have it set up so this whole thing is railed off. So maybe at night time they come down and close the dock or the wharf off, and it's all then closed up so nothing can get in, or potentially nobody can wander in and fall off, unlike our llama friend from last episode. Jeez, yeah, I know, Burrito, it's too soon. So the idea is that these will be able to slide across on their rails. I can't really do air quotes in Minecraft character form, so put their little air brackets around it, in rails along here and slide across. Now, the extra bit of depth that it gets from here, I'm sold on the idea. I really like it. So I think this is what we're going to be doing. Yes, Burrito, I know I already made up my mind before saying this, but it's just I wanted to show everyone so they could still feel a part of this process. So, don't walk off on me. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry for yelling too. Alright, so what I want to do is put in one more of these. I'm thinking just over here. So, actually two more, but I'll put one in over here. So what we do first off is just collect these up. Now, I've got to remember, I'm not wearing my helmet, so my water bubbles go down very, very quickly. Let's break off 3 of these. Burrito, no, get out of the water. I can see you already going underneath that half slab and suffocating yourself. Get on dry land, up here. So we take away 3 of them. We want 1 to still sit in place so it gives it that illusion that it's slidden across, and we'll come across the other 2 to give it just that little bit more of a thicker up edge so you can really see that this is being pushed back and slidden across. And I mean, it's a simple idea, guys, I know, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it just works so nicely for the concept of this dock here at the Tree Nursery. Alright, so before we move on and talk about that behind me, let's just get one more of these sort of entrances for the boats, or yeah, I'm going to go with entrances. I'm not going to think about it too much, and put one here. But what I want this one to be a bit bigger. So I think if we take the 3 from here, so we take away the 3, do the original idea, so we go 1 there, and 1 there. And now if I take away another 3 from this side, so it looks like this is where the larger boats will come and probably offload the wood, or collect the wood. So you can see here, it's a bigger door, like gapping, easier for them to get on and off, and load up some logs which we might stack up here, just to help again break up a bit of the the single traveller. Let's call these ones here the single traveller's port. That's where they'll jump in and off. But then we have here where we're actually going to be loading and unloading logs to be able to probably at this point be sending to the Cherrywood Isles. So that's my thinking. Alright, now that I've rectified that wrong or left out from last episode, and I've slept away the night, I think it's now time that we discuss what I got done on that live stream I mentioned between last episode and this one. And so the idea for that stream was I knew that for this episode of the hardcore season, I wanted to work on actually building up the plots for each of the different tree types. I didn't want to spend too much time in the episode building the actual main structured path. So I thought I'd jump on a live stream and just start putting it in, seeing if I can get the shape right so that way we could actually work on it here in the episode and, just sort of build off from there. Now, this thing here, that idea came from, well, do you remember how we were showing off the different sort of gradients? Let's kind of go with that because it's a bit of the texturing term we were trying to use when we were showing up the piers for this dock to show that some of this water has been soaking into the wood, so it was a little bit darker in some spots than it was in the others. So we were going from those transition from the dark oak to the spruce, and I also had that stripped variety pillar just next to it. Well, after that episode, and I kind of just looked around here, seeing up those two pillars, but I thought it would be a good idea to have a nice entranceway that had that sort of arching peak that was made up of the logs that were built around here, as well as using some other stony blocks that may be around just the general area, kind of like why we decided to go with the cobblestone for the stairs. So after seeing that, I just wanted to put a dirt block template, hence why this side is a little bit thinner than this side. I was trying to work out proportions, and then I didn't get back up. I got distracted doing the pathing. So this is the idea that I want to go with, but I don't want to start work on it just yet in this episode. Why is that, Burrito, you may be asking? Well, at the time of recording this, we're only a few days away from 1.21 dropping. That's right, the next update, the Trials Chamber, the Trials Chambers update, whatever, I think that's what it's called. And we're going to get a whole heap of different new building blocks, we're going to get a whole heap of different new tough options, as well as a whole heap more copper block varieties, half slabs in that, as well as trap doors and sort of the grated blocks. So I want to wait for that update to hit, and then I'm going to build the archway. So for now, we're just going to have this dirty blocked mess as a placeholder. Alright, but enough talking about that. Let's get into the path. Let's get into the work that was done on that live stream. And well, we'd already discussed in the last episode that I was going to use the cobblestone as steppings because it's a nice, easy resource that the people of the Tree Nursery would have found. So just piling up some rocks to make little step ups, and I thought that'd be beautiful. We even tried blending it in here, and this is as far as I got for blending and texturing. I kind of just wanted to get the path in, and I thought we could do a bit more of that sort of process in this episode. So where we go along the path now, you'll just see the cobblestone staring up, or the half slabs to make the stairs up. And we're going to do a bit more of that texturing and detail a little bit later on in this episode. But just so you guys know, all the other parts where you see these little stairs, they're not going to have any of the cobblestone to kind of match up or even transition into the pathing block. So with that said, let's head on up here, and you can now see that our main path is wrapping us around and getting ready to take us up to that next tier. But we do have some just pathing blocks done around the place, and my thinking is that we're going to have this main dirt road that's going to lead from the dock all the way around the place up to the storage house, which is over that section that we still need to kind of get a bit more dirt to finish off with. But it's also going to lead us, because this little landmass peninsula, I think it might be called, connects up to that massive land behind us there, the big jungle. And we've spoken about putting in some gates there to be able to separate the two. So this path will also lead all the way to the back there. With that being the main concept and idea for this path, I knew I didn't need to weave it around every section of the little plots for each of these trees. The idea is that we're just going to do a few of these pathing blocks to be able to spread us around and get us into the area, and we're just going to use that as our main traffic road, if you will. So this is where the area will start off, which is going to be the oak plot, but let's just continue on and follow the path to as far as I got it to. So once we come around here, you can see that we've gone up a few tiers. Well, really just one, that one's a little skinny line, but it then will just very shortly cut through what is going to be the birch, because this is definitely going to be an area that's going to take advantage of the pathing blocks to really separate the different sections before we cut up here into, honestly, this is really just like a no man's land for the plotting, so we might just put bushes here. I'm not sure if I've got any sweet berries, but they'd probably go around here nicely. It's just like a break up decor area before we head on into the acacia section. Now, as you can see, in our first idea draft when I was doing the terraforming, I thought the path might go around this way and then, dip down along the shore there. When I was up here and starting to put it in, I really didn't like that. So, beauty of Minecraft is, I'm just going to clean up those blocks and I moved my path. And now we really stretch around. We're going to have all of our acacia in the middle here. We're going to do something to really protect. At least one of these floating vines has to stay. I'm thinking this one might be the easiest, and we might put like a glass tube around it because, well, I mean, the vines aren't supposed to be floating. It's just a cool little, I don't know if it's a fail or a bug block. It's like a glitched block, which I think is nice to try and preserve in our world. But as we continue on our path down through here, you can see that we've got our little bed here, as well as so many more pandas that have been showing up. Like, okay, so here is the evil panda. We've known about him. He's all cool. He does need a better name than evil panda, but he's here. We've got Coco, and I did decide that I'm going to call this one Coco. And Coco's been chilling, eats bamboo, not a problem, having a time of his life. Now we've got this frog down here, and again through the Discord vines and that sort of stuff, I've heard of a really nice name to give to this frog, and it's fitting, I'm going to call him Fredo. Yes, Fredo the frog. Now we need Minecraft to add koalas, and I can call him Caramello. But since then, we've had two new pandas appear. We've had another brown panda, which, I'm pretty sure that the brown patterning for the pandas is supposed to be one of the more rarer ones. So it's good to see that we've gotten two of them around here. Yeah, I'm saying you're pretty cool. I don't have a name for you though, so you do need a name, as well as this other gentle giant who appeared as a baby and just loved doing roly-polies. Other than that though, you're a bit shy, but I think he's just a gentle soul. Yeah, look at him and Burrito there. Oh, they're so cute. So yeah, this place here, now that we've gotten in the sand and I've put in some bamboo just to sort of feed the original pandas, we're getting more and more spawn. Like right there, as we're talking about it, sitting up on the hill just behind me, there's another panda. So I think we could try and incorporate the pandas into this build area somehow. I don't know, maybe, Cherrywood Isle has its bit of lore and story. I'm really enjoying doing that storytelling part of the hardcore world. I mean, that is the goal, is to see how much of a story we can tell before we die. So I think I would love to hear your thoughts of how we can incorporate the pandas, the evil panda, Fredo, the frog, and some way to make a story for this tree nursery. Now, just before it gets too dark, I just want to show that the path took us all the way down to where we'll get to a cross section, and this here is where we're going to lead to our storage house, and then we'll lead, wow, words, you just drifted right off there. This is where we're going to lead to our storage house. I still need to finish filling up that sand and designing a build, but I think this is going to be the last thing that's built in this area. Once we've got all of the idea and the makeup of the land and how all these trees are tying in, what sort of fencing we're using, I think I can use that detail and that idea to get an inspiration to actually build up the house here. If you go in the opposite direction though, this is going to lead you to the bridge. I would love to get a bridge coming in from over here to over there, just so that we can just have something nice. It's just a detail, it's not really necessary, it's just something to help catch the eye, and maybe if you're wandering through this area, you want to actually travel down through the bridge here and explore this area. Yes, Burrito, I know it's getting dark, but all I need to do now is go that this part here of our path is going to lead to the too tall tree area, so it'll sort of now divvy off and go almost in line with our pathing here to go fully down there into where I'm going to put up that gate that's going to divide the tree nursery and our jungle. Alright, you got anything else to add now other than go to bed? No? Okay, so with all that now explained, let me quickly take a nap, grab up some supplies, and I'll meet you guys over at the oak section of our tree nursery. Alright, so I've gone off now and collected up our resources to get work started on the oak section of our tree nursery. I've also gone back now and done a bit of editing for that first part, and geez, 16 minutes just to be able to explain everything that sort of happened off stream, and that I didn't quite expect to go that long. And if you're still tuning in at this point, thank you very much for putting up with a bit of that longer explanation. So what we're going to do now is just jump straight into it. So the idea is I've gotten the cobblestone walls, the mossy cobblestone, as well as the andesite walls. Now, I don't know why we can't get just pure stone walls. It keeps trying to turn them into the stone brick. But anyway, we're just going to go off with these three because the idea is that they've moved the stone and the rock in the shape and into the forming to make the fence line that surrounds the perimeter of each section. Now, as you may have seen, I've also got a lot of sticks, and I've got myself a stack of oak logs because I want each farm is going to have the standard of these three, but I'm also going to include the fencing type of whatever wood is being actually grown in that area. So if we just go to our crafting table here, make ourselves up some fences like so, we can just start running through a bit of the demonstration of how this is going to look. So yes, Burrito, with this, I'm kind of thinking that I now want this to be a 3x3 so that it could have a center line here and I could just actually run through with that. Now, the idea of this fence is that it's going to be a little bit mismatchy, it's going to be broken up in a few places. Okay, I didn't quite realize that I probably should have, but the stone walls don't meet up with the fences. Although that shouldn't... Yeah, that probably won't be too bad because it helps us give that bit of a breakup within it. So if I go like something like that, it can show that he's tried to go along fixing up the walling and then broken off through with these fences. Yeah, Burrito, I think maybe we need to put a few more into place just to really sell it on this idea. But I think if we come through, have it a little bit like this and then break in some leaves, that might get us out of trouble. Because at the moment, that's the idea I was looking at, and looking at it now, I'm just not sold on it. Alright, so just because I'm not quite happy with how that fencing is looking and I might need to do a little bit more work on it as I'm going around, doesn't mean that we can't stop doing our progression at the moment. That was a mouthful. We can start putting in where we're going to have some of these trees. Now, some of these will just be naturally growing in there just to sort of fill a bit of a part, where some will be more strategically placed to grow in a way that we can constantly farm and harvest them. So I think first off, having a few up on here, I really do think is going to be the way to go for our harvesting. Now we're going to have to come back through with, I'm almost certain it's going to be like the mossy carpet, just to hide some lighting around here, because I think when all the leaves and all the trees grow up, it's going to start getting dark and we're going to need to really work out a good way to light it up, and the mossy carpet probably is going to be the best bet to get some hidden lighting in there. We might even go back to the witch farm to get some glowstone dust to make the actual glowstone, so a bit better of a light source and a bit more resource friendly than torches that we've got at the moment. So we've decided up there is where we want to be our trees that we're going to be harvesting and making use of for our farm. We probably need to work out our pathing up there. And as you can see, I kind of started one roughly on the stream for an idea, and I kind of just want it to be a very patchy pathway, probably add in some packed mud and have it just sort of wrapping around, and then maybe having it step up from here up into here, and then we'll be up here, and we could just sort of dot a little bit of a pathing just all the way around here. I know, Burrito, I didn't call you Bluey. Don't look at me like that. It's a little bit dizzy, but I think this pathing here is going to be nice, having a bit of a rounded section where we can just go around, harvest up our trees, you know, have one in the middle. That, I think, is what we want for this bit of direction. Now, we've got this one here, that's good, but I also marked out one here because we've got a bit of that sandier shore, so we might want to actually put in some stairs here and just make it a little bit of a path that just sort of dots off into this part. Round it off a little bit. These paths don't need to be perfect because it's more or less just over time the indentation of the footprints and everything as it's walked over the grass is really what we're trying to get for. So it's more of that packed in path, or where the dirt's been kicked away as you're walking. Not so much this one where it's been regularly trodden. The path here, these paths are more of you come down once a week or two because, you know, trees generally take quite some time to actually grow, so they're not going to be well-trodden paths. So with that said, let's plant down some trees and just get them growing so that this area becomes a little bit more lively. So yeah, this area here, I would actually prefer it if they grow into the... What the... Burrito, this guy just... Fix that for me. This area here, I would actually prefer if they grow up into the big bushy monster trees, because it will really help tell a bit more of this story and a bit more of a feeling that this is like a tree field. I still don't know if field's the right word. Like, I know you've got fields of crops for plants, but I don't know what it is for trees. So again, we'll whack a few around here. I think the bamboo might go, so let's just break that out. And I might just try and keep it on the shoreline, kind of like we've done with the Cherrywood Isles. So it looks like, you know, yes, okay, the bamboo was originally very dominant in this area, but over time and a lot more use of this space, we've sort of cut it back and sort of brought it in check just a little bit, so it's now more along the perimeter line of the shore rather than being centralized. Like, there'll be small pockets of it, especially when we get over to do the jungle field. I think bamboo probably should be there. I know, Burrito, it's almost night, but I just wanted to try and see if I can get any... What? Whenever I want a tree to grow, it never grows to this size. It always grows to the big, annoying ones, and now that I want one, it's just not going to do it. See? Again! Oh, I've got to sleep away this bad luck. Alright, so I've dotted around now a few extra saplings, gonna just hopefully let them grow out. Really hoping for some real big, monstrous looking trees to start growing, or otherwise we're gonna have to cut down some of these for show trees and actually build up maybe a custom tree. Although that actually might be a good idea. Not for today, but that still might actually be a good idea. Good idea or not, I've gone and now collected up a bit of moss and also some of those mossy carpets so that we can start bringing in just a little bit of extra texture and life into this area before I go off and fix up my fences and work out how I want them to go in before bringing you back in to show you this area all nice and done up. So what I'm thinking with the mossy carpet is areas like this, as you can see, they start to get a little bit darker. So all we need to do is break away that, place down a torch, and then just cover it up with one of the mossy carpet bits. Now, At the moment I'm just using torches, but as I said, I might go over to the witch farm and collect up some glowstone, and that'll just save me on a bit of resources really, but it's going to do the exact same trick. But now I'll just go around placing in a few bits of moss and just bone mealing it. Now I'm going to go through and remove the azaleas and maybe some of the leaves. The carpets and the grass that grows naturally, I think I'm going to keep it depending on how it looks, just to give this a bit more of nature is really set in here, and it's going to try and replicate a natural sort of a forested area where you would see all of this oak naturally spawning in. So I think if we just go along and plop in this a bit, plop these in a few places, it'll help just sort of tie that in. Just like how for the mangrove trees and that sort of stuff, we're going to try and include a bit of the mud blocks and the rooted mud blocks. I think adding in a bit of this moss and the grass definitely will help tell the tale of this area. So I'm not only going to be putting in some moss blocks and bone mealing them, I'm also going to go around and bone meal some of the grassier areas just to, you see, give that bit more feel and liveliness in here. Now I know if this was your own house and you had some of this longer grass, that sort of stuff, you'd probably be thinking, oh, got to go out and mow it or fix up the garden. But in a place like this, just that little touch of bone meal there with the vines growing on the dirt, you can see the hill up and the tree up on the hill, and we angle around at different parts, you start getting those different tinges of green as it's sort of in this in this scenario, the jungle grass is just naturally so green and lush that when you now look at the moss block next to it, it's a little bit darker. It looks, I don't want to say sickly, but it looks a little bit sicker compared to what the normal grass here is, and that really helps tie in the fact that a lot of these spots are now shaded by the trees, so the grass isn't getting as much sunlight as some of the other spots, so it's slightly going a little bit more of that brownier tinge. And yeah, it looks really cool, but then when you back it up by also bone mealing just the natural grassy bits here, you can see the transition between those parts, and I like that as a bit of a detail. I'm going to have to be careful bone mealing any moss that's around our pathing, because moss blocks overwrite almost anything except ores, so if I'm not too careful, this might become moss, and I don't want that. So even if we just do a few like that, maybe up one of those sizes, probably even bring in another tree just to go there. Please be a bigger one. There we go. Oh, it's another small... Okay, I'm going to have to come back through and do custom trees. I'm already feeling that we're not going to get the right ones. Oh, but with this rain, and I'm not too sure if it's a thunderstorm, and I don't want to stay out for one of those, let's use that as a good part now to break away. I'm going to try and make this place look a little bit more foresty-ish. Try and get the fences working nicely in the way that I'm wanting. I'm hoping that by adding in some leaves and a bit more lanterns or something like that, it might help tie it together. But that's what's going to happen in this part here. Let me just go away now and try and flesh that out and finish it up in all of this area here, and then we shall return. Alright, so after a couple of hours of work, I do think that now I have managed to pull off the concept and idea that I had for this oak section of our tree nursery. Now, obviously, I still haven't put in the actual entrance archway yet. I haven't even started working with any of the blocks. As of this part of recording this clip, the brand new update 1.21 has dropped, so we're going to be able to test out a few of those new tough blocks and some of the new copper blocks to see how we can make our archway with that. Yeah, Burrito, I reckon that's going to be a really cool little fun idea, but that's probably for next episode. Alright, so let's actually now go up and look in this area that we've been working on. So this is where we will be harvesting all of our oak trees in our tree nursery. And honestly, I think it has come up beautifully. Like now, some of these trees are obviously always just going to be here for show, you know, to represent the oak section of here. And then some trees will be harvesting and then, you know, replanting to keep collecting them up. But I think that this has just really come along so nicely. I'm not too sure if we want to keep the bamboo in here because I haven't gone around and placed it anywhere else. I kind of kept it on this shoreline and it looks a little bit out of place, but at the same time, it kind of works as being originally a jungle area. So I don't know, if next episode when we come back it's gone, that's probably because I decided just to get rid of it. Alright, so I can see that it's starting to get a little bit dark and, you know, the sun's setting around here, but I think that's a good time to actually show you all the lighting and how this area sort of comes up, because I think at night this takes on a whole new sort of feeling. Like now we've got up to the top tier section where we're probably going to do most of our tree harvesting, and yeah, I mean, I just think it looks really cool, and this definitely feels like, you know, a natural tree nursery that you would probably find if someone was out, you know, having a bit of land and that's where they sort of grew up all these trees. I'm pretty sure this is what it would look like. Alright, but if we come down behind the hill just there, and you can see that I still do have this little sandy shore. I've put a bit of a campfire there because, well, I couldn't use them for the dock, so I thought I may as well actually place them around the world so they still get some use. But it is quite bare a bit, and I was thinking maybe we could come back in and set up a bit of like, you know, a home area for some of the turtles that have been spawning around here. But I'm just not too sure. We did get attacked by a drown just a moment ago, so this isn't quite perfectly safe for turtle eggs to be hatching, but it could be an area that we could actually turn into. But I really do like that backdrop there of just how these trees look there. Ah, it's so cool. So, as you can see, this whole oak section of our tree nursery has really come up quite impressive, if I do say so myself. I do like how the wallings have sort of come together. At the first part it was just too bare to really see the whole picture, but now that we've gone around and you can see, you know, the primary sort of stone work there, and then also going through with the wood typing of this area to help tie in around with some of those fences, I think it's just a nice little touch. And those lanterns sitting on top of them really helps with that lighting. But for now, let me quickly go and sleep away this night, and then we can come back and wrap up this episode. Alright, so I've got to admit, look, I'm really happy with how this whole first section of our tree nursery has come up. I've got to admit, I was a little bit unsure at the start with how these wallings were going to be, and, you know, even as I said, you know, I don't know, I may have made a mistake here. But going through and then actually getting the whole area fleshed out with the trees, but not only just that, but with the moss and just the grass growing through, really helps, you know, cement this in my mind that this is now an actual area that, you know, has been somewhat maintained and kept, and it's giving me a really good feeling about continuing on and getting all the different tree type areas, you know, finished up over in that area there. Like, just looking around here, seeing the paths, oh, I'm so happy with it. I do think we will have to come back and, you know, in some sections, I'll remove some of the natural trees that we've grown, and I think we should put in maybe 1 or 2 custom trees in each section to really sort of sell that area of the trees. Alright, so now with that all said and done, I think this is going to be a great spot to leave off this hardcore episode. Now, I think that the workflow and that has been really good with this. You know, I've enjoyed making this whole episode and just working on it, getting stuff done in a stream beforehand, and then coming back into the episode and be able to just freshly work and, you know, get this whole thing built up. Okay, while I say that, I zoom past where the archway is going to be. We're doing that next episode, don't worry. But yeah, guys, I've enjoyed this pace for this video. I hope you guys have too and have made it this far into the video. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed watching this build process, listening to some of the thoughts and the ways that I'm wanting to approach this. And, if you're interested at all in watching the actual stream replay for building up these paths and that, like I said I did before this episode, and that's always on the second channel, Do Mountains Vault. You can watch all my live streams back there. Alright, it's time for it now though, so thank you everyone who has tuned in and, just hung out for this episode. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed it, and until next time,